You might remember a couple of years ago, or a couple of months ago, that the seminary in Detroit, the Sacred Heart Major Seminary, had Dr. Ralph Martins, Dr. Ed Peters, and Dr. Eduardo Echeverria terminated by Archbishop Weissenberger, the new Archbishop of Detroit. It caused quite the scandal, we'll say. They were fired for not having the new synodal religion. They had the temerity, despite them being associated with charismatic Catholicism and other more post-conciliar movements, they had the temerity to have a Catholic sense of morality. They were too Catholic, and so they were fired. Well, it turns out the Archbishop may have broken civil law. So we go here, because of that little technical issue we had. We got to reopen that tab here. We go here to complicit clergy on X. Leaked letter accuses Detroit Archbishop of breaking civil law. Now, for those who are hopeful that that means that the Archbishop will go to jail, don't hold your breath. Civil law means he could get sued. And typically a jury trial is in this case. And, well, as you're going to see as we go over this letter, which was published by Eduardo Echeverria, it looks like it's going to be an open and shut case. Here's the leaked letter dated 5 days ago, addressed to the Board of Trustees of the Sacred Heart Major Seminary. Dear Archbishop Weissenberger and trustees of Sacred Heart Major Seminary. On July 23rd, Archbishop Weissenberger met with 3 long-serving and highly respected members of the theology faculty, Dr. Ralph Martin, Dr. Ed Peters, and Dr. Eduardo Echeverria, and informed them that their employment at Sacred Heart Major Seminary was terminated effective immediately. When my colleagues asked why, the Archbishop said that the reason for their dismissals was theological perspectives different from his own, which the Archbishop declined to elaborate. Each of the professors was then handed a 6-page letter offering them a year of severance pay, conditioned upon them signing a confidential non-disclosure agreement. End quote. Obviously, this non-disclosure agreement, even if they signed it, didn't really seem to stick because everybody found out about this. What they have done, what it looks like they've done is, what the bishop has done, is violated civil law. And this letter is going to show you how that exactly happened. He's in a lot of trouble. I do not know whether the Board of Trustees was consulted prior to this action, but it is important for Archbishop Weissenberger and the Board of Trustees to know that these dismissals directly violate several provisions of the faculty handbook, the document adopted by the Board of Trustees to govern the relationship between the seminary and its faculty, which functions as part of each faculty member's contract. These terminations violated at least 3 sections of the faculty handbook: faculty separation, academic freedom, and contracts. And this is where you're getting into the legal part. 1. The section on faculty separation, italics indicates the language of the handbook, recognizes separation due only to retirement, resignation, or dismissal for cause with right of appeal. Regarding dismissal, the handbook says, quote, the employment of a faculty member may, after due process, be terminated by the seminary at any time if the seminary determines that the faculty member is in material violations of the contract and or faculty handbook. No such violation was alleged, and no cause was communicated other than unspecified theological differences, nor was there any due process. The faculty handbook specifies the procedure for dismissal. Written notification of intent to dismiss signed by the rector/president of the seminary and specifying the grounds for dismissal is delivered to the faculty member. These professors received no written notice specifying the grounds for dismissal. All 3 have subsequently filed written requests for review by a panel of faculty peers, prescribed by the faculty handbook. Will this right of faculty members be respected? 2. Academic freedom. The section on academic freedom does not exclude differing theological perspectives, since the unity of the church embraces a healthy diversity. What is excluded is that any faculty member promote anything contrary to the Catholic faith or morals, as taught by the magisterium. However, no such charge has been made against these 3 professors. To terminate these faculty members merely for differing theological perspectives expressed in their print or online publications is a violation of their academic freedom. The faculty handbook explains why academic freedom is necessary for the study of theology, and affirms that each faculty member is entitled to freedom for pursuing research in his/her respective field. Universities typically offer senior professors job security in the form of academic tenure. Instead of granting academic tenure, the seminary provides job security and stability to its long term faculty by means of rolling 6-year contracts, which renew automatically unless the seminary gives the professor notice in advance that he or she will not be reappointed. The faculty handbook states that the procedure and time frame by which the seminary can terminate rolling 6-year contracts, such as those held by the 3 professors who were dismissed, quoting the actual governing document. If the faculty member is not to be reappointed following the end of the 6-year rolling contract or any subsequent rolling contract, the rector or president shall give the faculty member written notice on or before June 1st of the calendar year immediately preceding the year in which the rolling contract period terminates. In the absence of such a notice of non-renewal, the faculty member shall be reappointed by June 1st of the 5th year of the 6-year rolling contract to another 6-year rolling contract immediately ending the previous 6-year rolling contract at the end of its 5th year. While the handbook requires that faculty members be notified 13 months before the termination of a 6-year rolling contract, contracts begin July 1st, these 3 professors were given no notice at all. These dismissals without cause violate the contracts and leave intact the right of each professor to his salary for the remainder of his 6-year term. The seminary's offer of only 1 year's severance, conditioned upon a non-disclosure agreement, violates both the handbook and these professors' contracts. While it is true that the Archbishop of Detroit has governing authority over the seminary, that authority must be exercised in a manner consistent with the seminary's governing documents and faculty contracts in order to keep faith with the faculty. The abrupt dismissal of these professors in good standing has already had a chilling effect on faculty morale, job security, and academic freedom. What is the value of the faculty handbook and faculty contracts if they are not respected? This dismissal also jeopardizes the seminary's standing with its accredited bodies, the Association of Theological Schools, the Higher Learning Commission, and the Congregation for Catholic Education, which require that educational institutions provide job security, protect academic freedom, and comply with their own governing documents. What will be the response of the University of St. Thomas in Rome, the Angelicum, to which the Sacred Heart Major Seminary is aggregated, to the dismissals without cause of 3 of its pontifical professor stabili? Although these firings have generated a considerable amount of bad press for the seminary, they have already raised doubts about the direction of the seminary in the minds of some of the bishops and religious communities who send seminarians to Sacred Heart Major Seminary, which could well reduce seminary enrollment and income next year if confidence is not restored. As a faculty member, I appeal to Archbishop Weissenberger and to the Board of Trustees to do what justice requires. In this situation, that means offering reinstatement to these faculty members who were dismissed contrary to the faculty handbook and their contracts. Or if the Archbishop believes that there are valid grounds for dismissal, the professors should be given written notice stating the grounds and granted the opportunity for appeal that the faculty handbook promises. At the very least, justice requires that our colleagues be paid in full for the remainder of their contracts. Faculty members also need clear assurances that in the future we can expect Sacred Heart Major Seminary to abide by the terms of the faculty handbook and our Sacred Heart Major Seminary contracts. Taking these steps will assure people inside and outside the seminary that that seminary is on stable course. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, a concerned faculty member, and it's an anonymous one, an anonymous signature for a very obvious reason. If they were willing to terminate these seminary professors without cause, in violation of their contracts, then they would be willing to do so at the same time to anybody who dares to speak out. This is incredible how much damage a modernist can do when they embrace the lawless nature of modernism and impose that on the major institutions of their diocese. In this case, their seminary, which generates revenue from smaller dioceses that don't have their own seminaries, because they will send their seminarians to that seminary. But now people have lost faith in it. They've lost trust. And who can blame anybody for not trusting that diocese anymore? And the other question I have is, if the esteem of other dioceses, the trust of other dioceses has been broken to such a degree that this could infect or impact enrollment, well, then there's another question here. What other institutions have suffered in that diocese because of this action? Are there Catholic hospitals, Catholic medical centers, Catholic nonprofit organizations that suddenly might have a hard time recruiting people because they've heard what happened at the seminary, done in a unilateral action by the bishop? I wonder if they'll be next. These can have a domino effect throughout a diocese. And unfortunately, it's probably the threat of legal action, the civil law here hanging over everybody as a sword of Damocles that might get the bishop to relent. Not decency, not Catholic morality, not doing what contracts promise, which is a basic aspect of sort of institutional honesty, but the fear of reprisal, the fear of being punished by the state. Because this is cut and dry. Now, I'd like to know if the faculty handbook there allows for difference of theological opinion as being grounds for termination. I suspect it doesn't. But, this is the new synodal religion where they accompany and dialogue with anybody except for those who actually remember what the Catholic Church has to say about matters of morality. Speaking of matters of morality, over in Vermont, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Burlington specifically, the Bishop McDermott, issued this cringe-inducing letter, his pastoral letter on immigrants and migrants. Buckle up, folks. If you're tired of seeing your bishops turning into politicians, you're going to have more of it. This is relatively short. August 22nd, 2025, on the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary. This link between migration and hope is clearly evident in many contemporary experiences of migration. Many migrants, refugees, and displaced persons are privileged witnesses of hope. Indeed, they demonstrate this daily through their resilience and trust in God, as they face adversity while seeking a future in which they glimpse that integral human development and happiness are possible. They are migrants of hope, witnesses of hope, because they show us that integral human development and happiness are linked together. We're gonna play maybe a little game here. If you're watching the live chat or later in the comments, find the gospel in this letter, the actual gospel. Repent, stop sinning, carry your cross, acknowledge Christ is Lord, and all the rest of the aspects of the gospel. Actually, find the gospel in this letter. Let me know if you find it in the comments or in the live chat. My dear family in Christ, Catholics in Vermont are generous people. Throughout our history in the Green Mountain State, we have reached out to help neighbors in need, bringing meals, offering rides, sharing work, sharing faith, and opening our hearts to those who are struggling. To this day, we see the person in front of us and we respond with compassion. This is the gospel in action. In our country and in our state, it is reported by bishops and others that many of our immigrant and migrant neighbors, especially those working on farms, in service jobs, and in small businesses, are living in fear because of their immigration status. Many are Catholic and they are afraid to attend Mass, afraid to have their children baptized, afraid to call a priest or deacon when someone is sick or dying. Being undocumented should not exclude anyone from the life of the Church. The Church teaches that the dignity of every person, including migrants and immigrants, must be respected always, and that more prosperous nations, while having the right to establish immigration policies to serve the common good, have an obligation to welcome those seeking security and livelihood, especially when threatened with death or in fear of survival. See the Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 2241. For some faithful Catholics, speaking out about immigration policies or about the suffering we see caused by their enforcement feels uncomfortable. Some see it as stepping into politics, something they believe the Church should avoid. But what I am addressing here is not a matter of partisan debate, it is a matter of pastoral care, Christian responsibility, and human dignity. Please join me in praying for all those who have a role in shaping immigration policies, both locally and nationally, that they may come together in wisdom and good faith to craft solutions which protect the integrity of our borders and respond compassionately to the needs of our vulnerable brothers and sisters who are seeking a better life. I also encourage Catholics to reach out to government officials to express your thoughts and concerns about the present immigration situation in our state and nation. To our migrant and immigrant brothers and sisters in Vermont, please know that we are praying for you and wish to help. You are not alone. You are a part of our local church. You are welcome at the table of the Lord. Your presence here is a blessing to the Catholic Church of Vermont. For those looking for ways to aid these, our brothers and sisters in Vermont, there are existing ministries in some of our parishes, which provide food, clothing, and other support to those in need. Contact information and other details about these charitable efforts taking place in Addison, Franklin, and Chittenden counties will be made available on our diocesan website. To my brother priests and deacons, continue to serve faithfully and tenderly, caring for all who come under your pastoral care. The sacraments are never to be withheld due to immigration status. Our call is to minister to all for the salvation of their souls. Just as in the past when Catholics in Vermont have heeded the call of the Lord to care for the needy, the present situation is an invitation to live out our Christian faith. To assist our migrant and immigrant neighbors is another opportunity for us as followers of Jesus to proclaim the good news to the poor, heal the brokenhearted, and welcome the stranger. Remember the words of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. In closing, I renew my response to the immigration situation shared this past February. Quoting himself, regarding our diocesan and parish response to the present situation we are facing as a nation and as a state, I ask that all of us look for opportunities to assist those in our communities who are living in fear because of the recent immigration changes. While we cannot meet every need, we must try to assist those who seek our help, knowing that when we aid them, we are helping Christ. The Catholic Church in Vermont must continue to do its best to fulfill the demands of the gospel by striving to care for those in any kind of difficulty. Let us invoke the intercession of Mary, refuge of the poor, and St. Joseph, her spouse, as we seek to assist our brothers and sisters in need. Our sisters and brothers in need. Got to have the feminist order of things recognized. God alone suffices. The Most Reverend John J. McDermott, Bishop of Burlington. Now, what I find fascinating about that letter is it's a very typical sounding letter that on the surface sounds really good. But you notice whenever they bring up immigration, they never, ever, ever fully quote the Catechism. The Catechism of the Catholic Church teaches explicitly that the migrant has the duty to, when he arrives, to follow the laws and to assimilate, to do as the locals do, to not disrupt things, to follow the laws, including laws of entry. And yet we never, ever, ever hear that from these men. And they tell us with a straight face that they don't make any money off of this migrant situation through their federal contracts, when if you understand how federal contracts work, you know that that's not true. I'm curious what you have to say about all this. So let me know in the comments, please, as William Dixon asked, where is the gospel? Indeed, not a lot of repenting called for in his letter. But, maybe the gospel doesn't have to be invoked in everything you do as a bishop. Possibly, maybe. But you would think on such hot button issues, the gospel, when they invoke it, would actually be invoked. Gospel is about saving souls, not making people feel better about themselves, not creating a better world or a more just world. It's about saving souls first. Unjust structures as they exist are to be removed if they hamper the gospel. That's the first and foremost thing. It's why the church didn't do much about involuntary servitude for so long, except own the people who were under the belief they owned other human beings how to treat them. But it wasn't first and foremost about removing that evil practice, not until later. It's not about making a better world, folks. It's about getting to heaven first and foremost. I'm curious what you have to say about this. So let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. And as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.